Well, hello there. If you clicked on this video, you want to learn a little bit more about streamer fishing. And today, that's what we're going to do today. So we're going to talk about the rod, the line, the tapered leader, tippet, the streamer itself, and some techniques. So the first thing you want to have, some of you that have been following me for a while have seen me use a 3-weight in streamers. Now, because I've been fishing a long time, I can get that done with a 3-weight. But I'm not recommending it if you're just starting out because it's going to be pretty frustrating trying to huck a big streamer out with a super light setup like that. If you've been fishing for a while, for several years, that might be easier. But for now, if you're just starting, start with at least a 5-weight or a 6-weight if you're doing streamers. The tapered leaders, right? I won't go any lighter than 3X. In fact, this right here is a 2X. It's almost 11-pound test. These fish aren't leader shy, right? If they're going after this great big streamer, they're not gonna give a crap if they see a little bit of line. Now, to mitigate that, you can use fluorocarbon, which I use here. Fluorocarbon's a little stronger, it sinks faster, it's more abrasive resistant, and it's a little more invisible in the water versus nylon or monofilament. So I like to use fluorocarbon when I'm fishing streamers. If you got a sink tip, your leader only needs to be about 4 feet long. So a lot of times you can just use a straight piece of 2X or 1X tippet. If you're fishing floating line in a river like this, you're gonna wanna use a 9-foot tapered leader. And that's what I'm using right now. The knot is important. You can see here, this knot, I tied a Duncan loop, right? This Duncan loop just gives the fly a little more action when it's underwater, right? If it's a clinch knot that's tied to this thing, it's gonna have some action because of the marabou, but it'll have limited because it's a straight line contact to a pretty stiff line. So I would encourage you to tie some sort of loop knot to your streamer pattern. It just gives it that little bit more action. Now, there's a lot of ways to fish streamers. First is you can swing them. You can cast it downstream and bring it back in. You can cast it upstream, which is very effective, and bring it back in. There's really no science when it comes to streamers. You just want that thing to have a lot of action. I'll vary up my retrieve. Sometimes it's slow, and I'm kind of let the marabou float around, waiting for the fish to take it. Sometimes I'm just speeding it downstream. We're speeding it across because that elicits a little trigger in the fish's head. They're like, I gotta get that. So vary up your presentation until you find something that works. Sometimes you'll fish a hole and swing it, and then go back and do an upstream cast and race the fly down, which gets the fish's attention and they go and grab it. So be sure to do a lot of different things. There's something called banging banks where you just throw the streamer out. It just lands hard on the water right against the shore and you race it back out towards you. Fish just love that. That splash is not gonna scare them. It's gonna get their attention, especially when they're going after these big streamer patterns. Some of the patterns that I like using, I'm a big fan of the Sculptzilla. It's my confidence fly. I'm sure there's other streamers out there that work really well. The Sculptzilla for me, it's nicely weighted. It's got a ton of marabou. It's got some crystal flash kind of in the body. It really does do a great job. And I use that both in white, olive, tan, gray, black. I love this one. The other one is the Mini Dungeon. And the Mini Dungeon in yellow just seemingly works really well for brown trout. Where can you find these flies? I am sponsored by Red's Flies. Check out Red's Flies. They are a family-owned and operated company. This guy makes some quality flies. They don't fall apart. You can just tell when you're tying them on, when you're screwing around with a fly, there's not feathers falling off, there's not fur falling off. These things really are built well, and they're built to last, and they're super fishy. And because you heard it from me, I've got a coupon code right here that'll save you some money if you want to buy some of these flies yourself and support a family-owned company with Red's Flies. So I encourage you to get out there and try streamer fishing. Dry flies are fun. Nymphing, it's fun. I enjoy it. Not a lot of people enjoy nymphing. I enjoy it. Euro nymphing, I don't do it much, but I'm sure that's a lot of fun. But streamer fishing, holy smokes. The power and just the sheer strike of the fish, that when they just blast it, I mean, your adrenaline just goes from 0 to 100 when you get a fish that blasts this thing, especially if it stays connected. Oh, and one thing I should mention as well is you're gonna miss a lot of fish on streamers. A lot of times they're hitting it from the side, they're attacking it from the front, and they don't always hook up. You're not doing anything wrong, right? Unless you're trout setting, try to strip set as much as you can and then get it on the rod. But you're gonna miss, no matter if you're doing everything right, you're still gonna miss probably 50% of the strikes. That is normal when it comes to streamer fishing. But the cool thing about streamer fishing, a lot of the times the fish will give you 2 to 3 chances throwing that fly back at them, and they'll come up and blast it. So you're not doing anything wrong. But get out there and try it. I think you'll like it. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in. And until the next time, fish on. And I'm gonna go see if I can catch one right here. Oh, there we go. That's a good fish. Oh, big, big fish. Get in the net. Yeah. Oh my God. Look at that fish. Oh. Wow. That is a beautiful fish. Wow. Beaut. Whew.